Okay, so yeah, I mentioned that we're going to be talking about sending emails in Node.js. And we're using, what's it called? NodeMailer, right? So let me share my screen and quickly walk you guys through it. So yeah, this is NodeMailer here. If you can see. So it's a module for Node.js applications to allow easy access or easy click email sending. Yeah, the project got started back in 2010, and there was no saying option to send email messages. Well, today it is the solution most Node.js users turn to by default. Yeah, so we all use NodeMailer. Yes, it's the most popular in Node.js. So you can also try it on your end. All right. So yeah, this is just the requirements here. When you want to use it, you need to get your SMTP. Yeah. So you need the SMTP address, the port, and whether it's secured or not. If you're using HTTPS, you can turn the secure option to true. And then this is your auth, your SMTP, the email this you want to use of the service, the email account, username, and the password. So we'll be using what's it called? Gmail as our host. Yeah, for the SMTP, we're using the Gmail SMTP. So let me just open up my VS Code. Okay. So first thing, let me go into the directory of KodeCamp. CD auth. So use our previous project to test this thing. So first thing, we'll just create like the sample application with it, and then from there we'll move it into our former project. So yeah, let me just quickly create that directory. Okay, yeah, so let me delete this file here. I need it. Bring up this guy. So I don't know if you guys can hear me, but please let me know if you can hear me.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, do we have David here? No. Mr. Martins, good evening. Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to like create. We have index.js here. No. So okay, we have index.js. So I'm going to create an app.js file in our root directory. So we use that to test it first. So touch app.js. So we use this to test it. Do we have? I'm not sure we have NodeMailer installed. So let's just quickly install it. It's very simple. Just npm install NodeMailer. So you don't want to install it as a dev dependencies because when you host your application, of course you want to use it. So you just install it as your normal dependency. So it's called NodeMailer. Just click enter. So yeah, where is it? This is it here. They've even given us guide on how to use it. So basically you just require it, and then it seems I'm going to be copying this their functions here to make everything snappy. Close this one up. I want to use this. Okay, so I think we have it installed now. Let's just require it. Require. Oh boy. Require NodeMailer. All right, so I'm just going to copy this to a function here. Should I copy it? Okay, let me walk you guys through it. Okay, so first thing I want to do is create a transporter. The transporter is going to be responsible for carrying all our alt credentials. Of course, our host, which is the SMTP, and also our credentials. So let's just call it const transport. Yeah, transport. Let's call it transport actually. So use NodeMailer to create the transporter here now. Create transporter. Okay, actually NodeMailer. Let's create. Okay, I'm coming. Do we have somebody here? Okay. Yeah, so yeah, NodeMailer, you want to use NodeMailer to create a transporter. So it's basically just NodeMailer dot create transport. And then it takes in, should we say, it takes in all our credentials, including our alt, including our the host, which is the SMTP, right? So it's an object, of course. So just type host, I think is the first thing, host, and then the SMTP that I want to use. So our case is going to be Gmail. So SMTP, if I'm not wrong, .gmail.com. So, and then the next thing is your port. Well, I would have used 465, but then since it's just, we're testing it locally, of course, so we don't need to use that. So we use 582. So 582, okay, let me quickly. So 587, yeah, that's it. 587. So is either 462 or 587. So, and then if you are using it over HTTPS, you can turn the secure option to true. But since we're on our local host, it's just going to be false. And then the next thing is your alt. So I'm going to walk you guys through something real quick. So for the alt, it takes in the user and then the password, which is pass in this case. So we'll get it soon, but so after that, we create what's it called? Well, let's just create our mail of who is sending the mail and what's sending it to, and also the title, like the title, yeah, you can call the title, and also either if you're sending text or HTML template. So let's just call it mail option. Options, yeah, options. Okay, so this is going to take in from who are sending from. So this takes in strings actually. So I want to use this. So the first is from the name. So let me say cyber. I'll just call it cyber dev. So for the second part here, this other part takes in the actual email address. So let me show you something here real quick on my browser. Damn. Okay, so maybe I can just take this off there. Okay, so I'm going to go straight into my Gmail and show you something quick. Gmail.com. Gmail.com. Is this Gmail? Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you can see right over where my mouse is, there's a name here, and then if you click it, you see from. This is the actual from, right? It takes in a name and then the actual email address inside of this less than and greater than sign. Yeah. So this is the actual email address. So in our from, this is how it's actually going to be. So go back into the code. So we have cyberdev, yeah. and then the email address. Okay, so I'm going to be using my personal one there. So I think I should use the 21997 gmail.com. Okay, so the next object here is the tool. Who are sending it to? So maybe after this whole thing, we'll change the to value to our user. All right. So for now, I'm just going to put in a test email. So there's this site I just discovered here. You can actually use it to generate a temporary email address that you can use to sign up or send stuff real quick, but it's temporary, of course. So maybe after 1 hour, it's just going to like become void or become null. So I want to use it for that, for just testing purpose. So I think we have someone coming in. Oh, okay. So yeah, we have the temporary email address. So I'm just going to paste it in there. And then subject. This is the one I called title earlier. So it's subject. So test email with node mailer, or call it NodeJs. Actually test email in Node.js. Okay, so you can either send a text, like a raw text, or send an HTML document body or so. So yeah, so for this email address here, I think their site only allows just text. So well, for now, for me, I tried it with HTML before and it didn't show up. So I'm just going to use the test option. Okay, so hello world from Node.js application. Okay, so let's also try the email, the HTML option here. So let's call it H1. If it works, of course, you know that the text is going to be bolder than the one in the raw text. So yeah, like that. Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much done with the mail option. So let's create another function called, actually, function keyword send mail. Yeah. So for sending mail, so we'll just call our transporter, then passing the first parameter actually is the options of the config. Your mail options. That's the first parameter, and then the second is for it's a callback function actually. So it takes in the error and the success parameter. So yeah, transporter. Don't forget, we declared our transporter up here, which is going to be responsible for sending the mail, right? So this transporter is going to send the mail. So just don't forget, copy the variable we assigned it to, transporter, then dot send mail. Just call the send mail on it, and then it's just going to like send the mail. So passing our mail option, the one we created up there, mail options, and then a callback function. So I'm just going to put in, I think is an error first function. So the first argument is for error, and then the next one is the success, or the actual information about what it has done. Or yeah. Yep, like this. Okay, close this up. So let's first check. So if there's an error, if error, I want to basically just do console.log. But I don't want to see the entire error stuff. So I just want to see only the message. I'm just going to pass an error.message. And then if there's no error, then console.log. I'll just say email sent to And then the next parameter is going to be info dot, should I say message ID? Yeah, let's try message ID. Okay, so then we call our send mail function. Send mail. It's very simple, very, very simple. So first thing, you create your transporter and then pass in the SMTP host and then the ports secure or not. Then you pass in your auth. Basically, I think this secure option might be optional. I don't know. But the auth is very, very important. You don't want to skip that part. So yeah, now let's get our auth credential. So yeah, can you guys hear me? Mr. Martins, okay, cool.
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay, so yeah, first thing you want to do is if you're using Gmail, like Gmail limits the amount of emails you can send, I think in a day or so. So I think it's limited to just 500 emails a day. So of course, you don't want to use Gmail for a real application. So you want to like get a better one, a better email option. You don't want to use Google. So this is just for testing purposes. So yeah, get off there. Come on. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is, well, actually, you can use your username and password. Let's assume you are using your personal email. So you can just pass in your username, like your email address, and like blah, 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 and then pass in the password here directly. But then sometimes you might get an error for that. But in case you do, the thing you want to do is, okay, yeah, do you have any question? Please throw it at me. Okay, so yeah, the thing you want to do is first thing, you go into, I think it's account.google.com, go in there. So yeah, well, then after, if you're not signed in, of course, it's going to ask you to sign in first. So when you're signing like me, I'm signed in. So you want to go to the security option here, just click the security option here, and then scroll down a bit. So this sign in to Google, of course, if you don't have two-factor or two-step verification turned on already, it's going to show you like this. You get the options like this. So after enabling this two-step verification, then it's going to change to something else, which I think is on my other account. So if you come down back there, you're going to be seeing, you see, of course, you see a two-step verification turned on here, and then you see app passwords. So actually, this is the app password I want to use. Of course, you can use your personal email and the email password. You can use that, right? But I just wanted to make this a bit secure, and just in case we get error. Well, if you're using your personal account password, of course you might get an error. So using this step guarantees you that you won't be encountering any error while trying to send the email or use the SMTP. So unlike the other parts here, when we are not signed up, when we don't have two-step verification turned on, we are not seeing the app password option here. So we want to turn this on first. So we just click it and then basically just get started and take that part off. So for me, I've done that on this other part. So I'm just going to go straight into it, click the app password option, and then to ask you to log in to verify you are the actual one. So just put in your password. And then for me, I already have one created before, but in case you don't, well, trying it for the first time, you won't have it on. So just click select password, choose the mail option, and then click this select device. Of course, you want to change it to other custom name. So you pass in the actual custom name. So NodeJs email. So I'm just going to use this one. So afterwards, it creates it for you, and then you get the password. So just copy this password and then go to the app. So yeah, now we have, don't forget the email the email address you want to use. So it's the actual one you use to generate that password, right? So that's the one you're going to put here. So I think it's the one with the 21997@gmail.com. And then the password, you paste in that actual password that was generated for you. So don't forget the second option here. Well, let me just put this uppercase. So you copy it. For the from option, when you are sending the mail, and the mail options, you want to be sure that it's this your user. Well, I don't know, maybe you can use another one, but for me, I use the same one. Okay, so just copy it and paste it in there. And then for the toe, of course, this is going to be dynamic. You're not going to be putting it fixed like this every time. So for us, we'll just use this our test email address to test it. That's the email address we generated from this temp mail website here. So yeah, go back to it. And then the text. So that's just basically everything. That's it. So let's just test this out now. So don't forget, we actually define a function here, and we pass in transporter.send mail. Then we pass in our actual email options here. So here we've handled the error. In case there's an error, we've handled it. And then if there's no error, we'll just log the message ID. So bring up our console. So don't forget, we are actually, this entire thing is inside of this app.js. So that's not actually where our server is. We don't actually need a server to test this whole thing. So we'll just use Node to start the, to run that particular file, Node app. That you can pass in app.js. Of course, you can also pass in just the app without it. Okay, so we get emails sent to, this is the actual message ID. So yeah, let's check. So this is who we sent. We sent the email. We sent that mail down here. So we just have to refresh. Oh yeah, it has shown up here. So we'll get hello world from NodeJs application. This is just the text showing up here. So but that's fine. If you go back, you see, check it again. It's the same thing. It's the same thing we have in our text body. Yeah. So hello world from NodeJs application. So yeah, that's cool. So yeah, do you guys have any question? Please throw it at me. Let me just, if you have questions, throw them at me. Let me answer them real quick. Any question?
Yeah, question. I don't know the start from.
Yeah, Mr. Martins, any question? Abiola?
No, for now, I'm still following up. Is it trying to set?
I have questions, but maybe I'll just go back to the video after you finish.
No, just quickly ask.
Yeah, the step. I've missed some of the steps, like.
Okay, let me just recap again. So to you actually use NodeMailer, just install it and require it. First thing you want to do is create the transport. So you just call NodeMailer.create transport. So yeah, you have these options here. You have host. The host is going to be the SMTP that you want to use. So we're using Gmail. So we have smtp.gmail.com. So we're using Gmail SMTP. And then ports, the actual port is it's either 462 or something, or 465. It's either that or 587. So 587 for not secured. So secure, now this option, secure, is either true or false. So if you are sending stuff over HTTPS, so okay, this is it. Defines if the connection should use SSL, if true or not, if false. So of course, we are not running over HTTPS, so there's not going to be SSL on top of our local host. So we just turn it to false. And then the most important part is the auth object here. So you using their SMTP, of course, you must have an account with them. So for the user, just pass in your email address here. And then for the password, you can either use the the email address you provided, the password of the email address you provided, or you just go straight into account.google.com to create an app password, which was what we did then. Well, it's actually what we did. So the next option is to use your transporter to, yes, the transporter you created is to use it to send the mail. So for you using transporter to send the mail, it takes in two options. I think the first one is the object containing the person you're sending, well, the account you're sending the email from, and who you're sending the email to, and then the subject of the email, and then either text or an HTML body that you want to send down to the person. So the second option, well, this is for handling errors. So it's actually a function that contains the error, if there's an error, and then the actual success, the response, right? So if it's successful, it's going to return some response to you. So it's just a callback function. Well, if you're using a sync and await, I don't think you need this second parameter. But yeah, let's just go ahead and, well, we've actually tested. We've tested it, so, and it worked. So that's cool. So yeah, we can, instead of sending it to this test, what's it called? So this is our test email address we created up here. We can actually send it to an actual email address, the one that is not some kind of fake email address. So I have another account called, well, actually it's similar to this. It's the same name to this one I used to send the email. So I'm just going to modify it a bit. So these numbers are different. So instead of using the first one, I use the second one, which is 97 instead of 21997. And it's a Gmail email address. Okay, so bring up our console again, node app.js to execute the file. And we should get, okay, email sent to now that it has sent the email. So it's done sending it now. So let's check our inbox for it. Okay, so I need to switch from, okay, we are sending from the one with the 21997, and then we are sending to this actual one with the 97. So I'm currently logged in on the 97 part. So, okay, yeah, we have it here. So cyberdev test email in Node.js, we click it. Now we get hello world from Node.js application. This actually used the HTML option, the one, like, we used text and also HTML. So I think the last part came in, which is the one with the actual HTML. So as you can see here, we have text. We're sending the email as a text and also as an HTML. So yeah, now we have it right there. So we need to do something. Okay. So yeah, we're done testing it now. Now let's embed it in our application. So we use it to create, after creating an account, we just send the user an email activation message. So of course, we're going to use Node Mailer. So yeah, we have it inside app.js, right? We can actually move it to our utils folder. So let's just copy everything we have here and then go to utils. So we can actually create it as create a service folder. And then I'm just going to put it in utils to make it simple. So send, so call it sms.js. Sorry, email.js. So we paste everything we've done from that other part down here. And then, okay, so we need to make this reusable for us. To have everything declared here. So we just, what do I want to say? What do I want to say? Okay. So actually we can extend this our send mail function here. We just copy it and put it up here. So inside of send mail, we have the mail options. So we need a parameter for this send mail option because, well, actually, let's export it. We'll export it as default, right? We just export it. So const, I said const, export, well, actually module. Let's export to export it as default. And then we can assign it to the function right there, and then it's going to take in the parameter of the user we're sending the mail to. So email, just pass an email for the parameter, and so the two option here is going to be the email address we're going to pass in. So it's going to be email. So which is the same thing as the parameter. Just pass it the parameter there to the two property there. Okay. So and our title. So if this is going to be reusable, we need to pass in some couple of objects. So of course, we're going to be having the to option, and then the subject, and then the actual message you want to send. So I'm going to make this parameter an object. So I can just call it, let's call it object. So the object is going to contain a to option, which is the email. So we can call it object.email. So the email is going to be coming from the object, the parameter, right? And then also object.subject. So the object is going to have a subject too. So it's going to be reusable that way. And then the actual message. So I need to make this a template string. I use backtick so I can pass in a variable directly to it. So object dot, I call it body, yeah, object.body. For this text too, I can say, well, I don't need to send it as a text. But, so I'm going to remove this HTML here in the HTML part. So we can type in HTML from our end. While using the send mail object. Actually, Modular Export. Okay, so let's export. Let's just use export directly. So the reason I want to use export is when we require this, so when we require it, it's going to be like const email equal to require email, and then so we can do email.sendMail. So we can have access to send mail. That way it makes sense when we call send mail. We know that was okay. We're actually sending the mail now. So just export send mail. Where are we now? Okay. Export the send mail as a function. Then this can be anonymous function, right? It can be anonymous function now. Okay. For the HTML, the text, I'm going to take it off. So of course, we can also pass in an attachment. If you want to send attachments, it's basically simple. So we just call attachments like that. And then since you can send more than just one file as an attachment, right? So it's actually an array. So you just pass in, it's an array of objects, right? So you can pass in the file name equal to the actual file name, or you can just give it a random name. But if you don't pass in the file name, it's going to like use the default file name as the file name. Okay. So after that, let's say test test file. Well, I don't know anything. So this is can also have path, I think. So it's going to be path to the file where the file is located in your system. So yeah, we have an option here. Public. This won't work. Of course, we have to navigate backward because we're inside of utils. So we can just do back, and then jump straight into public and grab the HTML file there. But I don't want to send the file. First, not. I don't want to send the file. So let's just keep it simple. So yeah, if you want to use it to send file or send an attachment, you can come down here. I think they have an option for that. So basically just click forward till you get to sending of attachments. Thank you. Message. Okay, so there's an attachment option here. So just click using attachments and then takes you down here. So this is their option here. This is their own sample code for creating attachments. So we have file name, the content. Yeah, this is for sending just the text file, right? But this part here, this is the part for sending an attachment, like a document or file. So you call the file name text3.txt and then the path to the file here. And then also the content type, yeah. This is actually the part here. So, well, you don't need the content for this one. I think if you use this, maybe they are going to write this content to this file right here. I don't know, define custom content type for it. Okay, so yeah, I just pass in the content type, the type of, I think is MIME type actually. So, but it's called content type, then it's the MIME type of the file I want to pass here. So if it's PDF, it's going to be application/PDF. Okay, you can check it out. So let me just drop it here. Let me drop it in the chat section. So you guys can, yeah, open it up in your browser. Okay, yeah, so let's just jump back to it.
Okay, I just have a question.
Please go ahead.
Okay, okay, something that's bothering me, like I don't know the difference or the use case of exports and modular exports.
Actually, I've talked about this before, but I'm still going to recap. So Modular.export allows you to export, well, let me put it this way. So module is actually an object. Module is an object, and export is also an object inside of module. So that's why you see we can do something like module, which is an object, dot export, which is another object within module object. So exports, yeah. Modular exports, right? Okay, so yeah, that's it. And then export too is an object. That's why you can attach a function to it. Well, in this case, you want to just use ordinary export dot. And then, okay, so module is a global object, right? You don't have to define it. It's already there in the global scope for you. So just call it module, and then it's going to come up. It's just like using client-side JavaScript where you have window. You know, in client-side JavaScript, when I'm in client-side front-end JavaScript, you can use window without declaring it somewhere, and it's going to respond to you. You can use set interval, and it's going to work like that. You don't need to define it somewhere. All those functions or methods, they are available for us in the global scope. So we don't need to actually define them. So module.export allows you to export a file as, a function as default, or export stuff as default. So module.export, then you can just set it to a function directly like that. So when you want to import this module here, so when you want to import the module, you just basically call the file name. It's just going to be like const, let's say app, equal to require, and then the actual file you are exporting from, the actual file you are exporting from, right? So we can call it maybe app, and then it's going to be available for you. Well, you have to pass in the specific directory where it is. So if it's inside of maybe public, and then wherever you are importing it from is in the root directory, you can just do /public and then grab it out of the public, and then you have maybe the actual path where the file is, the file name. So after all this, using Modular Export. So when you want to use the file, first thing I would advise you to do is, when you want to use it, just first thing, console.log the app. So console.log the app, and then you see what it's like in the console. So you're using Modular.export, and then you're just assigning it straight to a function. It's going to actually log the function directly into the console. But if you use, well, you can actually export, you can use Modular.export to export an object that contains different amounts of, what's it called? Different amounts of functions, right? Or of methods. So you can have like user set to a function, and then you can have contact set to a function like that too. Right, this is using Modular.export. So export is an object. Of course, you can also override it. If you're using Modular.export, you can override it and set it directly to a function, and then it allows you to export it as default, right? But if you're using just exports, and then the idea is always to attach a function to it, like send mail. It's always to attach a function to it. So if you attach a function to it and you export it like that, what you are going to get in the console is going to be equivalent to something like this. It's going to be equivalent to an object that has, okay, so let me just put it on straight line, that has send mail as a function inside of it. Send mail like that. You see something like function. Spell the function well. You see something like a function like this. So it's unlike using Modular Export. Using Modular Export and then you assign it to a variable directly, you won't be getting an object like that, like this. Instead, you are going to get a function directly in the console. So you know that, okay, since you are getting a function, you don't need to do anything like app dot the name of the function. You're just going to use it like that without declaring, without using dots notation on it, because it's not an object, of course. Well, we're going to practicalize this again. So let's just jump straight to what we are here for, right?
Thank you, sir.
All right. So I would advise to try it. So if you import any module, just log the module to the console first to see what it's like. Well, you first have to test it with Modular.export, and then also test it with export to see what it's like in the console. Then you know how to actually use it. Okay, so send mail takes in an object containing email, subject, and then the password, and then the body, right? So, okay, then transporter does send mail, then it sends the mail. Okay, so that's cool. Now let's go to where we want to use it. Send mail. So it's sitting right inside of utils. So let's come inside of our user. So I'm sure you guys know this file, right? You know what is going on here. So we did in our last tutorial. So homepage, this is the actual thing that is showing up the homepage. So yeah, let's start this npm run dev. Start it. Yeah, like that. So we're on port 3000. So for the home page, is the first thing I think is in the root directory. So the res.render index. So that's what we're going to see in the root directory. If you come over here, so localhost 3000. Now we see this is the actual home page. So you get to sign up here first. Don't really know this password, but yeah, let's go. So you get account created successfully, then it changed the page to login, and then we log in with that. After logging in, then we fetch our information back from database and we display it. And of course, we have the, okay, so I'm logging something to the console, okay. So we have our token too is already, we've implemented that part too for the front end. So after logging in, we get a token and then we send the token back to the client, which is the front end. And then they save the token and so that they can send it to us when they are trying to access the user information. So that's all we did here. So we have the token, we save it in the browser console. So if we remove the token here, we've deleted, yeah. So we've deleted it. And then if I refresh this page, you'll be getting unknown and everything here is unknown. So number unknown, occupation unknown. This Gmail, this email address here is being autofilled by what's it called? By the browser for me. That's Chrome. Chrome is autofilling it since there's a form here. So it has some information that actually autofill. That's why it's autofilling it for me. By default, it's not supposed to be any value here because we've deleted the user token. So the front end isn't sending any token again to the backend. So the backend has no way of actually knowing the user. As a matter of fact, if I check my console, I should get like an error message. That's if I log something to the console. So the server responded with a status of 401 unauthorized. If you guys can remember the last thing, I mean, if you can remember, we implemented that part and then, so let me just, so we have upload image. We stopped at uploading of image last time because I think there was some typo there and also I did some what's it called? The logic isn't correct. So one way or the other, we couldn't get the file to either upload or something. Okay, so get profile, and then for the get profile, don't forget we have our authorization somewhere. So we have our authorization file somewhere. I think that's under a middleware. So this is the middleware here. So and the route to actually get a profile requires the user to be authorized. So this is the route for getting the user information here. So /profile, then it has authorization. So if a user does not pass in an authorization, let's check the middleware. If a user does not pass in the authorization token, which we got from request.headers.authorization. So if there's no any authorization token there, so we are going to like respond to them res.status 401 session expired is going to be the message, and then we get okay false. So that's what we're actually getting in the console here. Said the server responded with a status of 401 unauthorized, right? So that's why we're not able to display the user information because they are not authorized. So for you to get that information back, you actually need to log in back. So you need to go back and log in. So I was supposed to implement that part here. So whereby the user, if the user is not authorized, we just redirect them back to the login page also, or sign up page. So for them to actually get access back to that area, they have to log in again. And then, so when you get to this profile page, we send your token to the backend to fetch any information. So that's what is happening here. We got the user name, their email, but the user does not have a phone number, so they don't have anyone yet. But we got the last time they updated their profile, or yeah, we got the date and the time. Also the account ID and the status and the profile ID. So if I test this in Postman, at least you are going to better understand what's going on here. But fine, so the idea, what we're going to do today is when the user signs up, we want to immediately send a message to their email address to confirm their, what's it called, their email address to verify it. For me, that sounds interesting though, but I don't know about you guys. Okay. All right, so let's close some of this that we don't need here. So user controller, yeah, we need you. So we're going to head back into our creating account function. I think that's create user or so. Okay, it's down here. So this is it right here. So we have create user, right? So we get their name, email, and password from the request body, right? So that Joy is just here to verify what they actually put in, is to verify their input, right? Okay, so this is the part where we create their account for them. So yeah, we hash their user, we hash their password, right? After hashing it, then we use it here. Set it to password as password. Okay, then we set a status of pending here. So this status of pending actually helps us to know if the user is verified or not. That's if they verify their account or not. Verifying of account means verifying through their email address, right? So that's it. So we create, after creating, so we just create the object of the user and then we push it into their account DB, we push the information to the account database, and so also push the profile information to the profile database. Actually, it's supposed to be profile collection or profile table. So here, assumes the user has been created in all these parts here. So go down. So send account activation email. So the idea is that we need to bring in that message utils we created right now, the message utility. The reason I call it utility is because we put it inside the utils folder. So we are inside of controller, right? So just const email equal to require. Yeah, to spell require well. Require, is that it? Yes. So we go back one step and then we jump inside of utils. Then we get email out of it. So if I log this to the console now, console.log email, bring up our console. So now we see an object called, and then we have a function inside of it called send mail, right? So this is it. And then it says anonymous function, anonymous, because it's an anonymous function. The function did not have an actual name. So it's an anonymous function. Just assign it to this send mail key here, right? So imagine I used module.export for the other guy asking how to differentiate this. So let me just quickly use module.export now. Take off the name, module.export, right? Save it. Now check the console. Wait for what you're getting. See what we're getting. Now we're just getting function anonymous directly. So this is telling us that it's not an object. It's just a simple function. We can just use it directly without any dot notation. So if you go down to where we called it, where we imported it. So to use this now, basically you just need to, just call it like this and then pass in the object. As you can see, it says email object. So just pass in the object and start using it like that. But if I'm using module.export, of course, you want to get this, since it's an object, you want to use dot notation to get the send mail function out of it. So I hope you understand now, or at least you've been able to grab something from that. Yeah, who was the person asking the question, though?
Abiola.
Oh, okay, Abiola. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Does that help a bit?
I understand. I understand now. Thank you very much.
Okay, cool. All right. So for us to use the send mail now that we are, let's check what it looks like in the console first. So, okay, it's an object now. So we just tap the send mail method on it. Now we've added send mail to the what's it called, to the email in the console, and the console.log. So now we are getting function. So we can use email.send mail to actually send mail now. So just put that in your mind, or bear it in mind. Okay, so when we are creating users, since we've imported our email utils, so we just have to go to create user, dock this console, close this other guy. So we're right inside of create user function. You go down, down, down. You can actually send an email anywhere immediately after getting the response, or yeah, the validation data out of Joy. You can actually do it up here and just, just say send verification email, and then just do your, so how we're going to use it is going to be so email.sendmail, don't forget, and then we'll have our object inside of it. Then I think it takes in okay, it's email going to be data.email. Don't forget the data is coming from Joy here. After validating the user, the request body, then it returns it out. So we save that response inside of data. So we can actually have email in it. So data.email, and then subject, don't forget, welcome to the app. Well, welcome to our platform. Okay, or let's call it verify your account. File account, then we need body. So the body is going to be the email. Okay, you can see I already have like a suggested what's it called, input for me here. So I'll just try to use that. So we have a lot of things here. So this part is quite tricky, right? I'm going to need to explain this. Why is it highlighting this? Was used before declared. Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's a conflict here between this name and this other one here. So I need to do something about it. So yeah. What can I call it? Email service. Call it email service. Because it's already causing a conflict with what we are getting here. I mean, it's a variable here. And then we've also declared a variable with the name called email before. So we need to change one. So email service dot send mail, right? Yeah, that can work. So I'm going to copy this, take it downward here. So we have send account activation email here. So paste it here. So the idea behind this part is we actually need to send in a button, right? So when the user clicks the button, it opens the browser and hits a particular route where we can get some things. Let's do that now. So we're actually going to have a button. So I can say H3, H3 first. So this is going to take in the welcome message. Welcome to our platform. So we close this H3, and after the H3, we need to actually tell them to use the button below to activate their account, something like that, right? So this is going to be, let's use a paragraph tag. So please use the button below to verify your email, your account, actually, your account. And then afterward, we have the actual button. So the button activate, the value of the button could be something like activate account. Let's spell that well. Okay. So this is just a button, right? Well, we can actually make it an anchor tag so that we can put a link on it. So href, right? So this is going to be it's going to be a link that we have an opened route as listening for that particular endpoint. So it's going to be a link that points straight to that route. So the route could be something, well, we want to pass in our domain name here, right? So it doesn't just go to / maybe Google or something. Okay. We have to be specific here. So for us, it's going to be localhost / our ports, and then / the endpoints that we are going to be using to verify the account. So it could be something like user / verify, and then we are going to be having, should I say, a query parameter here. So we have a query parameter called token, and then we get the user token. So the idea is we are going to encrypt their information, maybe their ID, or it means that we can use to get their information from database, right? So we hash that, or we encrypt that inside of, we encrypt that, right? So then we send the encrypted link, or a link. So after encrypting it, of course, I'm going to get the token or some long string, right? So pass that to this token. And then when they hit this particular route, we extract this token out of the URL. And then we use it. After extracting it, we decrypt it, then get the information we hash in there and use it to fetch the user and then verify them. Well, it's kind of tricky for now, but when you put these things in action, you get to understand it better. Okay, user / verify. We need to actually create this endpoint. And also the token, we need to hash. So we have access to the ID here, right? So we need to hash this ID too. I mean, we need to, encrypt it some way. So do we have, okay, we have JWT, right? So we can actually use JWT. So, but we need to bring it in, okay? So we have it there, and okay, so here, let's leave a comment here and say, we can call it, okay, encrypt user, let's say user ID, right? Okay, so JWT is going to do that for us. So const JWT, okay, we have it already. So let's see, const token equal to JWT.sign. So it actually signs the token. So, okay, the ID is going to be the user ID. So we can get that from user here. What is it? So user.id. Okay, so yeah, basically we just need to hash that or encrypt that. So the second parameter here is the option. So we need a secret. We need to hash this hash this token with a secret, a password. Just the same way we did inside of our authorization file, right? I think we did that here too somewhere. Okay, I think it's when they signed in. So we just encrypt. So we can actually copy that. Let's just copy that to make everything swift. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, yeah, this is it here. For this one, we are not going to keep it. This is not going to be available for long. So the token is going to expire real quick, maybe after 30, should we say after 5 hours or 6 hours. So we need to like get able to expire this token real quick. So we start here, token generated assign user ID. So we don't want to also sign their email address. No, let's just use the ID. So our password stays the same, that our secret key stays the same, and this expires in, well, let's say a day. It expires in a day. Okay, so this token now is going to actually be passed to this href here. So we need to make this a template string. Well, it stays like this. This is a template string for here. So we can pass in the secure. Well, you can either call this token or secure. Let me call it secure. So I'll pass in the token here. So the query parameter is secure. And notice this is different from query params. This is query. So query, so you do request.query, and then you get this, since we are using, I notice we are using a question mark here instead of semicolon, instead of colon, because this is actually a query, that's why I'm using semicolon. If it's query params, you know, we'd be using this secure, we'll be using colon, right? And then it's not going to be equal to anything, it's just going to be secure like that. But we need a query param and a query here. So I think this is pretty much it. Let's just send this to them and see what it looks like from their end. That's what it looks like on their end. Actually, it's on. Okay, our server is still running, right? So let's check. So let's create this user again. So I need to be careful here. If I can remember the accounts I'm using. So the account I'm using to send the mail is the one with the 21997, right? Okay, so I need to send it to another account. We need to send the email to another account. So, all right, click submit. Account created successfully. Let's check our console. Okay, so we have email sent to. That's cool. That means our email has been sent. Let's check how it looks like on the user's end. So we get CyberDev, verify your account. Let's click. So we don't have a message body. Something is missing. So the message body didn't show. Okay, so let's go back. Check why. So we have body. Okay. And let's go back to maybe that we didn't save. Okay, let's go back to our email.js. HTML object of body. Okay, so I don't think the problem is from here. So I have email subject body, right? Okay, so actually we'll have to let's send the mail again. So we need to create the user again. And let me delete some of these messages. Okay, go back here, refresh. Here's my name. And then click submit. No. So refresh here, verify. Okay, yeah. So I think we didn't save the last time. So now we have our HTML file here. So now welcome to our platform. Please use the button to verify your account. Actually, it should be button below. And then this should be designed or styled as a button. So when they click, it opens another tab. And now you see we have our localhost /user/verify. So this is what they say here. It said cannot get /user/verify. So we need to create that endpoint on our API here. So do you guys understand so far?
Yes.
Okay, and also check the URL. We see query secure equal to the JWT token we created for them. So now you see it's the long string here. So I noticed it started with EY. So JWT always starts with that. Okay. So the user ID is actually embedded inside of this long string here. So we just have to decrypt it and use it to fetch the user. So you guys can see this whole thing is now making sense now, right? Create an email template, use it to send dynamic emails. So yeah, and then for maybe after verifying the account, you can also change the subject to account activated successfully and then send them another email address and another email message, tell them they've been successfully verified or activated or something. Okay, so we need to create a route for our /user/verify, right? All right. Okay, now the entire thing is getting huge here. So I have login, get profile, update profile. Okay. So after this, okay, I need to do it up here. So I'll just say verify user account. So exports dot send, nope. So verify account, right? Verify account. So first thing I want to do is console.log request.query. Copilot is smart. It already knows that I have secure as the query, right? So it's already suggesting request.query.secure. All right, so I have export.verify account. We need to just go straight into our routes, right? So where's our route? I think, okay, so we didn't create a route here, but all our routes is inside of index.js. So we'll have to create another one for verifying accounts. So verify the user account. Okay, so app.post/user/ should we use, no, it's not post, it's get. We use get. So app.get, because it's going to load over the browser, and then the browser by default uses a get request method. So /user/verify. So we have user.verify user or verify account. Wow. Okay, so we actually need an authorization middleware here. No, I don't think we need an authorization middleware because this user isn't signed in yet, right? We issued the user we send them a message when they are not verified. I mean when they are not logged in. It's after they create the account, that's when we send them the verification email. So we don't need an authorization here because they are not logged in yet. Okay, so yeah, let's we can actually execute this. Lucky for us, we've created that handler, and then we have console.log query, request a query. So let's reload this page. Now you see the browser is still loading. We have this X icon here for stop loading. So if we check our console now, bring up the console, hide this one. Now we see the request.query inside of our console here. And then we have secure here as the first argument. So this is the secure that we're having in there. So can dock that guy now and then proceed here. So we need to do some checks here first. First thing, what we need to do is, let's say const token, you can actually call it token equal to request.query.secure, and then we bring in JWT to verify this. But then we need to wrap it. We need to wrap this inside of we need to wrap this inside of a try block, because when the token is expired, of course, it's going to throw an error for us that the token is expired. So like this. So our try block now, what are we going to do first? So inside of our try block, what we need to do is verify or get the user ID. We get the user from the DB. Okay, yeah, get the user ID. So we just call const decoded. So this could be let's call it decoded. JWT the verified token, and then pass in our password. So like that. So decoded.id should, let's call it user. So user.id should give us the user ID, but let's log down the console first. So log are coming up. So user, so bring up the console, go straight and refresh the browser, check the console again. So we get the ID of the user and then some IET, issued at, expired. So I think these are just a timestamp when we issued the token. So we have IET, which is issued at or something, and this expires in this other millisecond. So we have the user ID now. Or we could even use we could destructure the ID out of it like that. So let's just destructure it out. So next thing, get the user from the database. Okay, so we have the user database here. We've required it here before. So user, did we assign it to something else? Okay, we assign it to account DB. So let's just const, call this one user. We've changed the variable. So call this user. So call account DB. So account DB dot find data.id equal to the actual ID that will go from the JWT after verifying it. So if it matches, then we get the user out. So if it matches, okay, let's check if the user exists. So if in case the user, let's say we issued a token and then the user did not actually use that token that time, then they use their account, maybe they entered into the account and managed to delete the account. So if they go back to the email and click that link, we should check if the accounts exist first before trying to do anything. So just in case the account does not exist, this is going to be undefined or something. So we say if user then we proceed, right? And then else, we just rest.json or status for that we couldn't find the user not found. So just then we couldn't find their account. So user not found or account not found or something like that. So here now, so if there's a user, the next thing we should do is check for the status. So don't forget, when we created the user account, we set a status for it. Yeah, okay, yeah. Don't forget we have a status here that says pending. So the idea is to change this to active after they verify the account. So we need to check if the status is still pending before we proceed. So if user, okay. I need to do another if here. So check if they are verified. So if user.status, if the status is not pending, so if user.status is not pending, so like that. So if user.status is not pending, then we just set it to user.status equal to, or you can call it verified or active. Okay, you can set to verified or active, each one, anyone you like. So now we verified the user now. Well, let's keep this straightforward. So let's just call it verified, right? So if it's verified, okay, so if it's pending, so if user.status is pending, then we set it to verified. So if it's not pending, then that means it's verified. We just tell them that they've been verified. So let's just say not modified. We just send the status of 304. So we say else whereas the status is 304 for not modified. Then we send an OK or false, and then a message of user account already verified, already activated. Let's say activated. It has to be the same thing, the title of the message of the subject of the message you sent them earlier. So user account already activated. So I want to check the message we sent to them earlier. So the title is, the subject is verify. Okay, verify your account, right? So our message too should also tell them that user account already verified. Verified. So everything makes sense like that. So after changing their status to verified here, we need to send them response rest.status status 200.json. So okay, true message, account verified successfully. Smooth. So we should check if they are not verified. So verify user account, verifies user account, and then so simple enough. First thing, we get the ID from the token. Second thing, we fetch them from database and check if they exist. If they don't exist, we send them a 404, tell them that the account is not found. But if they exist, proceed to check if they are verified before. So if they are not verified, rather, so if they are not verified, we verify their account, send them a message to tell them that they're verified successfully. And also, after doing this, are you guys still there? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so after verifying the account here, right here, we should also send them
Yes, I can hear you.
okay, cool. So we should also send them an email telling them that they've been verified successfully, right? So we need to bring in our, let's use our email service that send mail to tell them that. And you see, this email service is reusable and it's cool. I like it. So of course we have some repeated functions here, or repeated codes that are just repeating over and over. So like the code, the part that that is actually fetching the user, we could use that code that is fetching the user. So we could like reuse it, right? So, you know, each time we first want to check if the user exists before we actually do some things. So we could just use that pattern, just wrap it in a function. Well, maybe we'll clean that up later. So the email is going to be, okay. So yeah, notice we got the user information from this part here, this side here. So which we have inside of the user object, right? So we don't only have access to user.status, we have access to every of the information. So, I mean, this is the account, right? So we have all the information that is pertaining to the account. So the account also have their email address, so you can use that here. Subject is account verified successfully. No, account verified. So the body is welcome to our platform. Your account has been verified successfully. So yeah, that's basically we have should I say an H3 or a H3? Well, anyone that works for you. So welcome to our platform. We have the H3 there, and then we also have a paragraph tag that says your account has been verified successfully. So that's cool. That's all we need, right? So send them an account verified email, right? So yes, that's it. We are pretty much done here. Let's just test this out now and see if it's going to work. So, so notice when I refresh this, we get an object that says, okay, false, message, user not found. So the thing is, the idea is each time we reload our server, the user gets deleted, right? Because it does not persist. So we need to create this user again. So that's the idea of checking if the user exists first, right? This token is still valid because it expires in 1 day, but then we need to check the user exists. So now we got okay, false message, user not found, right? So which means we need to actually create this user again. So this email is, we don't need it anymore. So let's create this user again. So yeah, I have it here, just click, account created successfully, login, user not found, okay. We need to check this part, but that's not our ultimate goal for now. Let's check the email box. Let's check our mailbox first. Okay, we have the message, verify your account, activate account. Yeah, so we have, okay, true message, account verified successfully, right? So for the first time, we've verified the user account. If we refresh this page now, oh, but it's still telling us, okay, true, account verified successfully. So if we verified it for the first time, if they reload the page, that means if they try to click the button again, it should tell them that they already verified. So I thought we implemented that. That part didn't work out well. So if user.status is pending, oh yeah, we just, okay, we need to actually update We need to update this inside of the account database. What's it called? We need to update it inside of the array directly. Okay. Oh, we do okay. We'll do this, and then we're going to be using account db dot. Okay, so what I used the last time was splice, right? Account db dot index of user dot one, then use the third parameter to update it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we've restarted the server now. So what I used the other time was account of splice to get the index of the user, and then update the first one there, the first index, and then okay. So this actually deletes. It's actually what it's doing is it actually deletes the first. It actually deletes the user first, and then insert the new user. It deletes the first object, and then insert the new object. That's the old object gets deleted, and then the new one gets inserted. So that's what it's doing. So we have to create this user again. So let me also delete this. Okay, so we got the account verify, like this, the success message after verifying your account. So your account has been verified successfully. We got that too. That's cool. So let's delete that. Let's try it again. Okay, I mistakenly clicked that. So yeah. Yep. So, but for the login part, I think something might be wrong with this guy. User not found. So the focus is not to log the user in, it's to verify the user. So is this email, well, I don't think this ID shouldn't exist. Let me reload. So yeah, user not found, the ID does not exist again. So we have to like get it now from the mailbox. Each time we create a user, we get the unique ID for the user. So account verified successfully. Reload. Damn, I'm still getting that thing. But for most cases, this is not going to happen for most cases because we won't be using this array. Of course, each time we want to pull the data from the database. So after immediately we update the user account, we save it to the database, and then we pull from there again. So that's the initial idea. I mean, that's the idea. So in that case, we're not going to be encountering this message like this here. So I don't think this whole thing is working out well. Check. Okay, so first thing, so each time we pull the user account, we log it. Let's log it to the console so we see what the user looks like. Okay. So VS Code has already helped me to destructure log out of console. If I go up, I should see it. It's console. So this is it right here. So I'm just going to be using log now for the rest of this session. So reload account not found. I expect that. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think I've deleted that message. Do I have trash? So this is a new one. You can see sent 0 minutes ago. So if I click, account verified. So let me go back to my console, see what it looks like here. Okay, so the status is still pending. Well, it was. So let me log that again. Let me refresh again, check it again. Now it's verified, status verified, right? So if I refresh again, I should still get verified. That means it's actually working. It has changed it to verified. But what this says is if user.status is pending, if it's pending, that's when it should set the user to verify. And notice I log the user up here before we actually check the user and before we actually set the user. So if user.status is pending, that is when you should do all these things. But then it's verified here. So if it gets here, it should be like, it should be false, right? And then it should move down here. User account already verified. Am I still getting account verified successfully? Let me check the console again and see. Okay, so I'm using the strict mode now. Let's see if that's going to help us one way or the other. So yeah, it's 11 already, so our session has really expired. We are done. We're supposed to be ending now, so let me just quickly test this for the last time. If it did not work this time, then we'll just give up on that and continue in our next session. Okay. We're not getting the email isn't sending. Email sent to, oh. The email address, I'm sure it's going to be the same email address I used to test, what's it called? The same one I use in sending the email. I mean, sending from, it's going to send it to. So here now, I got me. Check it. Click it. Account verified successfully. Refresh. I'm getting same thing. Okay. See, it's verified here. It's pending here. It's verified here. So when you get here, you should just use if not verified. This thing is not working out well for us. It's not, I don't know what's wrong with the logic. Okay, guys, are you still with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh boy, this is not good. So for one reason or the other, it's not, the logic isn't working for us. So if user status, up here, the status of the user up here is changing. So if we set it here, it's going to change up here. And then when it gets here, it should be false now. But well, it's fine. It's fine. So as long as what we came here for has been done, user account already verified, then we don't need to worry about this, the logic. You just make sure when you are given an assignment to implement this, just make sure you do all these things, right? So make sure you do all these things, and you can also check the reason why it's not actually working as I expect. So when you do it as an assignment, if you get the same error or the same logical error, you can then try to debug it. But if it did not work, fine, you can still leave it like that. I know it's supposed to work, but I'm going to debug this on my end later and fix it, right? Okay, guys, so this is 11 already, so I wouldn't want to waste much of your time, so you can go and rest, prepare for tomorrow. So, but do you guys have any question, please? Do you have any question, real quick? Okay, so I imagine there's no question. All right, guys, so good night and have a wonderful night rest, right? Good night.